All right, breaking news, guys. Sneako and Andrew Tate have parted ways. I mean, I guess this is the natural outcome of this whole scenario. It's just so it's so weird. It's like everybody's consuming them. It's like the manosphere or like red pill is just consuming itself now that it's been made a mockery of. So it's kind of funny. Anyway, it says Sneako hits back after Andrew Tate slams him over OnlyFans girl. So I guess Sneako's been having OnlyFans girls on his podcast or his stream to like promote them, blah, 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 blah. Isn't that the same thing that Aiden Ross was doing? And then Andrew Tate went on to Aiden Ross's stream. So I guess when Andrew Tate could capitalize off of the audience, he was like, oh, this is fine. But now that he can't, he's just gonna criticize. I don't know. I mean, Sneako is baby Andrew Tate. I mean, Sneako literally modeled this current version of himself after Andrew Tate. That just seems what he does. He just kind of cycles through different people's what do you want to say? Different people's mentalities, really. But whatever. Sneako and weren't they friends too? Didn't they hang out and kiss or something? I don't know. Andrew Tate and Sneako and Andrew Tate are in the midst of an online feud after Tate questioned Sneako's content for featuring OnlyFans models, calling the streamer a moron and a clown. I agree, he is a moron and a clown. Probably not for the OnlyFans stuff, though. I mean, that's all Fresh and Fit do. Aren't they really big fans of Andrew Tate? Isn't this also a criticism on Fresh and Fit? I don't see how it's not. None of this makes sense to me. I feel like this is an angle from Tate to just try to get back into positive public opinion or something. I feel like he's playing the public opinion thing. Like when it came to Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp's obviously innocent and Tate isn't, if you look at the information. I'm not getting into it. But that was a very public trial, and I feel like a lot of that, even if there was just a lot of that was public, and it obviously is going to sway the jury in some capacity. There was no way to stay away from that. I feel like that's part of the mentality here. It's like, hey, let's go public with it. Let's try to get a positive framing of ourselves. Or maybe he just doesn't care anymore because he's a bitter man because he knows he's going to go to jail. Or maybe he's just going to stop pretending that he likes these people, these like weird, and Sneako, Aiden Ross, the same thing, obnoxious, dumb little kids. Maybe he's decided he's tired of pandering to that group for, attention. But anyway, or maybe he's trying to rebrand himself as more intelligent or more mature, right? Sneako and Andrew Tate are two highly divisive online creators. Tate has become an infamous figure around the world and is currently being investigated by Romanian authorities on charges of human trafficking, rape, and organized criminal activity. Sneako, on the other hand, is not as infamous, but he has made quite a name for himself on social media as another inflammatory creator. What is this, an article? Little Pump, Sneako and Neon kicked out. Isn't Neon kicked out of Topgolf after homophobic comments? Incredible. Isn't Neon that, like, he's such a weird dude, no? Isn't he just like a weird cringe streamer? That's my understanding. Oh, yeah. Dude, this guy's like a dork. Yeah, okay. Anyway. Sneako and Tate have been in the center of an unexpected feud that has divided their fan bases, and that feud recently reached another level. I mean, I don't really know what division is really going on through their fan base, considering Sneako just pretty much admitted that he was done monetizing the red pill and decided to move away to do other things. Andrew Tate calls Sneako and Neon clowns and morons. The issue began during one of Tate's recent podcasts, where the former kickboxer ripped into Sneako for using OnlyFans to promote his content. Well, OnlyFans girls need attention to sell their OnlyFans, blah, blah, blah. We're going to actually just watch that, so we don't need to...
Well, OnlyFans girls need attention to sell their OnlyFans, and losers need attention to sell their stream. And none of them have any talent. None of them are insightful. None of them have...
This guy's not insightful at all.
...any wisdom or life experience. None of them have anything to teach you. Birds of a feather flock together.
Wow.
So my answer is...
You used to flock with him, though. Tate used to flock with Sneako. How are you going to say birds of a feather? You guys used to flock all the time. What are you talking about? Like, you're not even making any sense right now. You sound like silly. You used to hang out with him. Birds of a feather flock together. I don't understand.
In this attention economy, unfortunately, on the race to the bottom, while everyone does more and more stupid things to get views, I don't think I am ever going to be surprised by how low they will sink.
Bro, I agree, but also you did the same thing. You used to sell. You still do sell porn. You sell OnlyFans porn. Well, I don't think you do anymore. You're getting whatever it's called. You're getting investigated for that. But you still do that. How are you going to say, oh, they're so stupid for having OnlyFans girls on when you literally sex traffic women? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. Oh, you know what it is? I think it's the grift towards the right. I think that I think Andrew Tate has realized that his market now cannot be like Zoomer, obnoxious, loud streamers because they've all realized that he's a big fucking loser. But Tucker Carlson and that other dumb bitch, I was almost said Christina Aguilera, Candace Owens. I don't know why I like Christina Aguilera. I guess I don't know. They've been eating his cum. They've been just like gargling because they've just been gargling because they get some views. They get like 1 million plus views every time they talk to him. They sit there and they just give him a platform to be able to lie, and be like, I'm only being investigated for TikTok. It's like, no, I mean, if you want to be the person that says, I want to wait till the court is done to figure out if they're guilty, that's fine. If you look at what he said, he's most likely guilty based on all the information that's come out. It's been very public. That being said, he would just say that all it is TikTok, and those aren't even the claims. And both of them were like, yeah, sure. You're really getting investigated over TikTok? It's like, come on. Hey, what's up, Brittany? Sorry, I haven't gone back to your Discord messages. My bad. I saw them and I was like, my sleep schedule has been so off. We should chat soon. Thank you so much for the 3-month small gut from John Pon09. Thanks for all the great content, Top G. Thank you, Top Gut.
And if hanging around with an OnlyFans girl is going to get them some attention on the internet, they're going to do it.
That's what
Same as they're going to do anything else to get some attention on the internet. Like degrade themselves endlessly, scream at a camera, be clowns, be morons, sip lean, whatever crap they do to get views. That's what they're going to do.
I mean, this would be super base because nothing he's saying is wrong if he didn't engage in all of that stuff as well. He took it. He was on Aiden Ross was like his best friend for how long? He was all over trying to capture the audience of fucking morons. And all of a sudden now that he's done with it, he's like, oh, you guys are clowns. Yeah, they are, but so are you. You are the biggest clown of them all. All right, so then there's a Sneako response. We got a couple of minutes here. Let's see what we got here. The quality of these are incredible.
Be moron, sip lean, whatever crap they do. To
get
Okay, I'm really hurt because this was my champion. This was my hero. This was my king. I'm going to fucking cry. I'm going to be super upset.
There's a lot that I could say.
Didn't say it. Oh, he's going to pretend to take the moral high ground.
I don't think it makes a lot of sense to attack back or to insult back. Obviously.
Wow, he's so sad. Wow, that's so sad, Sneak. It's like when your dad. It's like when your dad fucking scolds you right now. This is very funny.
I agree with a lot of the message. Apparently, a lot of sense to attack back or to insult back. Obviously, I agree with a lot of the message. Apparently, have some disagreements with the messenger, but
okay.
I resonate with a lot of what he says. Do I think it makes sense to go insulting, name?
He's acting like such a pussy about it.
Calling.
If you agree with what he's saying, then just be like, yeah, he's right. But he's acting like a baby.
And belittling the work that I do, no.
He should. I mean, you're 24 years old. You're an adult now. You are embarrassing yourself. You're acting like a fucking child. So, almost based Andrew Tate. Almost. Except for the raping women and sex trafficking part. If he didn't do those things, super based. Unfortunately, he's a predator. So, you know what I mean? It's as if EDP just yelled at Sneako, but worse. Like, exponentially worse. Like, objectively and exponentially worse. I mean, he even groomed a kid. Right? That's my understanding. He was talking to a girl that was like 15, and then he groomed her into being his bottom bitch, or one of them. So we're kind of there. I mean, like, really, we could sit here and jerk each other off all we want, but like, who's worse? Is it Andrew Tate with an entire network of sex trafficking and rape allegations who groomed a 15-year-old to be his bottom bitch? Or is it EDP, who is still disgusting and tried to sleep with children? And we don't even have to decide. We could just decide that they're both disgusting and they should both go to the same spot. But I do find it interesting that in my opinion, Andrew Tate is exponentially worse. And yet there's more internet animosity for EDP. And there's so much defense for Tate too. So something to think about, in my opinion.
Does that make me want to go and criticize or maybe call out hypocrisy? Yes, but
to do it, pussy.
I think it's more important right now. I think there's something more important right now, especially when
it's more important because the message is so powerful and strong. So I'm gonna shut up. Shut the fuck up. This guy would scream if it was a woman saying anything the same that was just said. He would scream and shit all over his pants. He would diarrhea in his diaper. But because it's his fucking father, he's gonna cry about it and just be like, I guess he still really feels like he needs those Tate views, you know?
Like, we're both getting attacked. Me and Andrew are both getting blamed for manipulating the youth. That's what they're saying, to turn them into misogynists and homophobes.
Yeah, well, Tate's a literal groomer. I don't agree calling Sneako a groomer. He's just an opportunistic little bitch that's just out for himself. Here's the thing. People are using the word groomer on Sneako, saying it's intentional, that he's trying to manipulate kids. I don't think that's true. I think Sneako is just he's not self-aware, a dumb kid who doesn't realize the negative impact of what he's saying. He's making money, and money to him is affirmation. That's all it is. He's making money. That means that what he's doing is right. That's the only way that he feels. He doesn't care about anything outside of that. He's not intelligent enough or self-aware enough for. And listen, when I was 24, I don't know if I was super self-aware either. But outside of that, you know, I think it's very self-serving. So
all this garbage, they're blaming murders, like they're saying that what happened in England today is our fault. So
yeah, I'm gonna look into that. I don't know what's going on with that. So
I think that there's much more important things. We got to keep pushing this specific.
Because I have that. That's going to be like the next thing I take a look at is this: the Tate brothers slam critics for blaming them in a UK stabbing
message and what we believe in. I think people on this side, we agree on so much that it doesn't make sense to go and pick fights with one another and have beef with one another.
Wow.
Which actually, like, hearing that, I was surprised. It's like right now, out of all times, you're seeing that both of us are being blamed for murder.
Did anybody even blame Sneako for this? Or is he's just jumping on? He's just trying to pretend that he is as important as Tate. I mean, Tate is very negatively important, but he's still more important than Sneako. They're both negatively important, but you get my point.
Like, that's the rhetoric that's happening. So
wow, it's a big word for you, buddy.
I don't want to keep dividing because there's a lot of ego at play that I noticed in the red pill space, and that's why I wanted to gravitate away towards that. And
I really wanted to move away from the red pill because there's a lot of ego involved. Well, when you have a bunch of men jerking themselves off while also saying that they're not gay, yeah, I'm saying that they hate gays. Yeah, I'd say that there is a lot of weird ego. Bro, you were the ego. What are you talking about? There's so much ego in the red pill. I really realized this as a philosophical individual. I was like, there's a lot of ego here. I should probably gravitate away. No, if the red pill was still strong, you would be guzzling cum of it. But you're not. You realize that you can't make any more money off of it. So now you're going to like dumb fucking live stream bullshit. Next thing you know, you're going to pull an ice beside, and then you're going to set up a situation with a sex worker where you're going to do some weird, creepy shit. And I got some obnoxious backlash. Not a lot of it, but obnoxious backlash from dumb little kids that didn't actually look into that situation. Because with the ice beside, people are like, oh, she knew that she was being recorded. Yeah, so this is the thing. I don't know if you guys know how houses work or hotels room works, but a lot of times there's multiple rooms. So that hotel room seemed to have two rooms. There was like the entrance with like a living room, and then there was a bedroom. I don't know if it was a hotel or whatever, but you get my point. She knew she was being recorded in the living room. That was in the living room, but the bedroom is where they were going to have sex. She didn't think she was being recorded there, and there were dudes sitting in there waiting for her to go in there so they could record her and do whatever weird shit they were going to do. That's fucking disgusting. But dumb little kids, they don't know how to think. It's like little Sneakos going like, "What? But she knew she was being recorded." It's like, okay, that's like that. It'd literally be the same thing as if you worked in a factory that recorded you. And then you went and took a piss, and there was a fucking recorder just like ball level when you're taking a piss in the urinal. It's like looking right up your balls. And they were like, we told you we were recording you. You wouldn't expect to be recorded in the bathroom, right? So kind of commonsensical shit.
Do more IRL streams, go outside more, and diversify the type of content instead of just like, screaming and yelling at the camera. Interacting with more people, going to more different places, training in more different gyms. training with different fighters and more experienced people,
Wow.
learning from more people, meeting up with different Islamic scholars and doing more street dawah, trying to do more and trying to put myself out there more in the real world instead of just being a person screaming at the camera. Because it gets repetitive, and like that when your ego gets at play and people think, oh, this is my talking point. This is my space. You don't belong in this
MySpace. What a throwback. That's all I had to say.
space, which I've heard a lot of since joining.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Who the fuck is this? The incel culture that had been pushed by Andrew Tate, Sneako, and all these red pill losers are responsible for the. Oh, this is the person that's I guess blaming Sneako. Okay, sham. Maybe she's right. We'll take a look at that later. Okay, let's kind of just roll right into this part because I am curious about that. Someone had sent this to me. Apparently, Andrew Tate is being blamed for a horrific tragedy that happened in the UK of a young teenage girl. Let's see what we got here. I wonder if there's an update on this.
Remember divisive social media influencer Andrew Tate, who is currently
Do I? Of course I do.
charged with rape, human trafficking, and forming a criminal gang to sexually exploit women? Well, he and his brother are blasting
true.
critics who say they're responsible for a recent grisly crime. Andrew's brother, Tristan Tate,
What makes people think that? Did they yell, Andrew Tate? And then, start doing that?
weighed in on the gruesome killing of a 15-year-old girl
Oh, wow, she did die. That's horrible. I thought they didn't say that she had passed away. That's terrible.
in South London by a
Now I can't make as many jokes. Not about her, of course. God, God bless her. But what a tragedy. Because what I was going to say is like, I'm not trying to downplay the situation, but if you think about it, stabbing somebody as a man is kind of gay. Because look, this is what you're doing when you stab somebody, or like this. That's a little gay. Especially for a red pillar, you'd think that they would be a little bit more aware of that. It's like you have to eat a banana from the middle. You can't be like, delicious. You know what I mean? Sorry if it's a little inappropriate. I'm sorry. I just dumped this everywhere. My bad.
17-year-old boy on Wednesday. He railed against the suspect, who's now in custody, but in doing so, he emphatically sounded off on critics, blaming him and his brother Andrew Tate for influencing the murder. Let's take a look.
In a world where every man takes Andrew and Tristan Tate's advice, this
I got to be honest with you. There's no man taking Andrew and Tristan Tate's advice. From just an objective perspective, there's not a single man. And I'm confident in saying that that's taking their advice. And the reason is because there is if you are a believer in or a follower of Andrew Tate or Tristan Tate, you are not a man. And this is an objective thing. Men don't rape and sex traffic women or groom women. If you do those things, you're not a man. Logically speaking, then you cannot be a man if you engage with Andrew Tate because you are honoring a sex trafficking rapist. Yeah, the trial's not over. We have tons of information out there. It's all effectively proven at this point. If you're still following him, you're on fucking cope shit. So they're not men. At least not by my definition of what a man is. So let's not pretend that there's no man is following them.
does not happen. That is not masculinity. That is the opposite of masculinity. That is acting out to your emotions, feeling sad, feeling rejected, and lashing out with violence. Everything
because you guys don't promote that by beating women into submission.
We preach, from stoicism, self-accountability, emotional control, would have prevented this from happening.
You guys beat women in your fucking webcam business. What are you talking about?
And it pisses me off that they'll attack Andrew, ban him from schools, plaster his face all over every newspaper, and say that he's a danger.
Yeah.
The Tate brothers were not involved in the fatal stabbing, but it didn't stop critics from blaming them on social media, claiming the event is a byproduct of the Tates'.
My thing is why is there something specifically that links these 17-year-old boys to Tate? Are they just seeing that the overall narrative of disrespecting women, which does exist, that's perpetuated by Andrew Tate in the manosphere, which is true? Are they saying that that had a negative impact and caused this? Because that might be true. You know. Or was there something specifically said about this situation? Like, was there something that these 17-year-olds had, or this 17-year-old boy said.
Rhetoric, young men are being brainwashed and radicalized by the influencers. Tate was previously banned from various prominent social media platforms for expressing misogynistic views and for...
She rejected a boy and he killed her for it. Wow, is that what happened? Young men are being radicalized online and little girls are bearing the brunt of the resulting violence. Misogyny is killing women and girls, and it's only going to get worse as these Andrew Tate fans get older. That's an interesting concept. If that's true, that she rejected the kid, the boy, and then the boy stabbed her to death, which is was how horrible. I wonder if that is pushed by Andrew Tate or if that's just incel culture. Because I don't know. There absolutely is a disrespect of women from Andrew Tate's perspective, but then at the same time, I feel like this incel culture is Andrew Tate, I guess, has an impact on incels, kids that don't really have any other options. And, of course, we want to figure out interventional means. But I just wonder, because we have had some horrific crimes caused by, males, we'll say, for getting rejected in some capacity.
Or quote-unquote hate speech. Fans of the brothers pushed back against those pointing the finger at them following this grisly attack. Maintaining violence is in opposition to what they preach.
All right.
I think I like the girl on the left. I think I've seen her talk before.
I want to say up top, there's no connection between the Tate brothers and this killing. It's not even a situation where there was a manifesto or something where we know that the alleged killer followed the Tate brothers or did so at the instruction or the perceived instruction of the Tate brothers. There's no there.
Okay. So then this is just a conversation about just a general mentality.
Specifically. That being said, I want to give voice to why people are saying this.
It all has to do with gang culture. Stabbings are now way too common. Maybe you might be right. There might be. I live near that. You live near that. Yeah, maybe it's just a gang stabbing thing. I wonder if this is an attempt. And listen, like Andrew Tate deserves criticism for his negative impact that he's having in general. But I wonder if this is an attempt to attach their names to this in a way to sensationalize what's happening, to clickbait the event. The boy went to give his ex-girlfriend flowers and she rejected him. Then he started to chase her with a machete. That's horrible. But her friend jumped to defend her and her friend died protecting her. Oh, it's a different Jesus.
The argument is that there is a now widespread and pernicious culture of content creators like the Tate brothers who very explicitly talk about using
He had a plan. So he had a plan to kill her if he was interested.
Misogynistic language and tools of control to get women to do what they want to do. They say things like, we don't support violence, but there have been videos where the Tates have bragged about their collection of knives and how they can use them to threaten and coerce women to do X, Y, and Z. He's obviously being charged with what is at best characterized as a fraud scheme where he preys on the self-esteem of women so that they do sex work on camera for him and pay him all of the vast majority of the profits without keeping much of it for themselves. He is on camera saying things like, I tell them that I'm collecting this money from them because I need to pay taxes, but there are no taxes, I'm just pocketing it. I mean, the gap between how they present themselves and what they have said on camera is as wide as the Grand Canyon. That doesn't mean I think they're directly responsible for this, of course, but we should put in context that there's a reason why people are asking this question of what there's a cultural trend that is causing boys to not see girls as full human beings and therefore be more likely.
Is there a cultural trend? I guess for the past few thousand years.
To take their lives or do violence against them.
Yeah, I find that there is a pre-existing level of mental health concern among young men who feel aggrieved by the system for whatever reason, who feel that their generation is not getting involved in long-term relationships, maybe they're not having as much sex as they would like, and generally feeling a lack of connection amongst their peers and with...
Yeah, I think most of that has to do with the social media. Listen, here's my thing. I really think a lot of it's social media. You don't have to leave the house anymore. You used to find people when you go out to like bars or clubs or work or this or that, and people just aren't leaving the house anymore. They're having less connections. And at church too. You used to go to church and find a girl. People they have less outlets to go to find people. The majority of people who are dating somebody don't meet somebody on dating sites, and that is a place you could go. But I think it's 92% of people in long-term relationships met outside of a dating site. I think a lot of this has to do with the culture of people that are just very lonely and staying inside because of social media. And there are more factors than just that, but that's a big thing. find a club or a hobby or something,
society. But that predates the Tate brothers. And I think
True, I agree
the
with
problem that I have with generally the sort of manosphere movement, at least a large chunk of it, is that they're prescribing the wrong solution to these disaffected men. Because
Sure.
they're actually sending them further down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, the solution that manosphere applies to people is to disrespect women. This is one of the things, and a lot of advocacy groups do this. There are branches of feminism and advocacy for LGBTQ and advocacy for other race movements as well that will focus more on breaking down another community, the oppositional community, quote unquote, rather than building up their own community. But if you look at feminism, if you look at activism for LGBTQ and like activism for different racial groups, the majority of it is positive, right? The majority of it is trying to build up their own group. And then there are some people who steal that narrative and they try to break down the otherized group. When it comes to the manosphere, the overwhelming majority of the manosphere is not, they're not concerned with building up men. They're concerned with bringing women down to the level that they feel. So rather than tell men like, hey, there's a lot of hard stuff going on, here are the ways that you have to adapt to the future, which is, you're going to have to come to the table with more than just money. That's what it comes down to. You need to be more empathetic. You need to be more positively emotional. You need to just be better. It's not like it used to be. Instead of saying, hey, let's build ourselves up, here's the way to adapt and move on as a man. What they're doing is they're saying we have to bring these women down. Make sure you find them as young as possible. Treat them like shit. They're stupid. They're less than. They're not as good. Bring them down to your level. Bring them down to the way that you feel rather than to rise to the occasion. And that is the biggest problem with the manosphere. It's embarrassing, and people will say like, "Well, they say, but you should work out," and that's positive. But I saw Andrew Tate's workout that he was trying to show people. It's dog shit. It's just do some fucking. It's really just do some push-ups. There's no actual like program or routine that gives you a step-by-step process. There's no progressive overload. There's no. There's nothing. There's no safety protocols. I don't even think it's not even his real routine. He's just trying to sell it to people. That's it. He's just trying to sell something to people so that they'll keep coming back, and it'll be ineffective, and they won't give them anything. So like that's one of the problems. There's nobody in depth talking about it. Go look at somebody in the like the workout sphere. Look at somebody like Mike Israetel or Jim Wendler or Brandon Lilly, Alan Thrall. Look at these different areas if you want workout advice. These people actually care. So
of failing to treat other people with respect, failing to see people as fully realized humans, and of basically putting on a show of what they perceive to be an alpha masculinity. Mm-hmm. And the Tate brothers, in their response to being blamed for this grisly crime, are saying, well, we preach self-control and bottling up your emotions. And it's like,
as they shout into the camera.
Right, as they're screaming at the camera.
Half naked.
I don't know if it's like, from my religious perspective, I'm a traditional Catholic. I feel like there is positive masculinity, and there are ways to address the disaffected men in our society in ways that support the biological predispositions of men and masculine men in particular. But those values,
I agree with that too,
are about responsibility, about actually being in tune with your emotions and knowing when is the proper time to express them, and also being protectors and providers. None of that is synonymous with, I think, the vision that they present, which is more of an aggressive position. And aggression is emotional. Being aggressive is you exhibiting an emotion. Men are just as emotional as women. We just express it differently. When you're being aggressive and angry and charged up and you're feeling violent, that's an emotional response. We don't consider it emotional because it's not crying, but it's worse than crying. Like, what's worse? Somebody that gets upset and starts crying, or somebody that gets upset and starts destroying things or hitting people? Just dollar for dollar, destroying things. I mean, I think it's a little more expensive to like destroy your TV because you're angry at a sports game than it is for a woman to go through a box of tissues because her favorite Grey's Anatomy character died. Let's be real. I mean, the emotions of men are exponentially more catastrophic and destructive. And listen, and we just don't consider it that.
That's all it comes down to.
A part of masculinity that can be used in positive and negative ways. I don't feel like they're using it in a positive.
Yeah, I mean, they're being exploitative.
Right.
So this is also coming on the heels of another controversy involving a different manosphere streamer named Sneako. I confess, perhaps due to my big age, I had never heard of this young man before this viral video, but
wow, you're lucky.
Apparently this Sneako person did a meet and greet and seemed to be shocked by the nature of the statements of these very young boys. They looked
This is why women shouldn't vote. Okay.
to be what, like 10, 11, 12, 13? I'm not good at ages. We're saying, so we can't play the video, but the kids were saying to him, F the...
Yeah, kill gay people. That's what they said. Yeah, the second part, I guess Sneako was more attached to this than I had thought. Okay, that's pretty much it. I don't really have an interest in continuing to look at this. Yeah, man, at the end of the day, manosphere, Sneako, Andrew Tate, objectively bad influence on people.